Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Nehal Shukla from Team Adgully, and I welcome you all to GAMEXX 2024 Summit. The theme for this year is Beyond Entertainment Gaming's Role in Shaping Digital Culture. To begin with, our very first panel discussion, the topic for the day is Gaming the New Ad Frontier, Blending Brands and Worlds. To moderate this panel, we have Mr. Naresh Gupta, who is managing partner, bang in the middle. Joining him are Krishnarao Buddha, senior category head, Parle Products, and Ankit Gupta, head of apps and games, India, Sellside Google. Welcome you all. Naresh sir, over to you.
Hi, Krishna. Hi, Ankit. Welcome to the GameX Summit. And let's see what we can all add to this whole conversation about gaming, advertising, and what's happening. So they say about 80% of online population in the world is a gamer. So some or else a kind of game is being played online at this point of time. And it isn't actually something really new. I mean, I saw 30 years back a beer brand creating a game which you were supposed to catch the beer in the crate and some rewards will happen and stuff like that. So those were the early days and things have moved on and started to become what they've started to become. So why don't we run from Ankit's perspective, because he's the platform owner, works with Google, to understand what's happening, what's not happening, and just understand from the evolution perspective as to what are the options today, what can brands think of, what can brands do. Ankit?
Thanks, Naresh, for the introduction. As you said, yeah, I think gaming is a very exciting field, and our team actually works with a lot of these gaming developers and make sure that their ad inventory is available for advertisers so that they can reach out to these engaged users, right? So users are very engaged in these games, and if we have a right ad placement for the right user at the right time, it gives value to our advertisers. Our team has been working continuously with the top app developers to make sure that they understand their users and make sure that the right users are available for advertisers to target. We also work on new ad formats which can help advertisers to place their brand safely in the games, right? And there has been a lot of evolution of type of ad formats and making sure that they are compliant with the IAB formats. And I can share more as we go in the discussion that what all kind of new things which are emerging, like immersive ads, rewarded ads, native ads for advertisers to play on.
Krishnarao, you actually work with a brand which is interesting. One, its legacy. Two, it really works at the bottom of the pyramid. Something that you would think is not very easy for the brand to look at gaming as an ecosystem and try and do something there. I mean, gaming comes easy to tech brands or brands that are focused on the younger generation. How do you look at this entire ecosystem? Where do you think joy lies for you, for your brands?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question actually. So, uh, rightly said. So, Parle being an extremely mass brand, uh, we are extremely excited about gaming as an option. Uh, though we find several challenges when it comes to advertising, and because of the fact that, yeah, so we are able to reach a certain section of the audience through gaming. uh, but at the same time, so we look at not just gaming, but uh, having presence overall on digital platforms. And like Ankit mentioned, so we work with several yeah, platforms which help us give access to several publishers, and gaming is a subsection or a part of that vertical. And so yes, while we have a strong conviction that gaming as an opportunity for from an advertiser is immense, somehow we've not really been able to utilize it in an appropriate manner yet, and we're not really seeing the evolution of gaming, be it talking about, let's say, serious gaming, or for that matter casual gaming. In both cases we've not really seen a very strong evolution of advertising. But I'm extremely positive about the fact that we have immense opportunity to leverage gaming as a solution.
In the entire funnel, where do you see, and this is actually, you both can try and answer that question for me, where do you see the role of in-gaming advertising coming in? Because advertising by definition is intrusive. As a gamer, how much people are willing to be pushed back and an intrusion can happen, because I'm not very sure how much can a brand seek an action out of the ads that they put on gaming, because as a gamer I would want to stay on the platform and not get out of it. So how much do you use gaming for awareness generation, and how much do you use gaming for, say, action? Where is it that you would put the entire effort that you put into the gaming world? We'll come back to this question at a later date, because there are some more things that we can discuss. But from both your perspective, where do you see the role of gaming coming in for the brand in the entire overall funnel perspective?
I can go in first. Yes, call to action. So rich media banners and all actually helps. So where there isn't really an intrusion or there isn't any time limit on the game. So there is a possibility that there is a communication which is compelling enough that I'm willing to move out of my game. Okay, that is where I think a banner works well, and I really find that to be an exciting medium to take my viewer or to make my gamer to my say site website or my partner website for that matter. Okay, that's one. But like you rightly mentioned, yes. Otherwise, there are games which are intense and even regular casual games where you just can't miss an opportunity. Probably you might miss a life, and that is where a call to action kind of a medium or communication definitely is not going to work. Where you can definitely subtly integrate or put your advertisement, wherein subtly somewhere there could be that could play that piece of communication could play a role of brand awareness or a reminder communication as such.
So are you
Yeah.
saying that from your perspective, it's more awareness, and you would want to drive more awareness than try to drive an action out
Call
of
to
what you put?
action.
Yeah, Ankit, from a publisher or from a media perspective, what is it that you would advise brands? What should they look for?
Yeah, I think like I will agree to Krishnarao's point that there is a lot of evolution to be done, and we are at early stages right now. But I would say that there are different funnels which can be addressed through gaming, and I will tell you how maybe we are helping these publishers be more relevant for all types of advertisers funnel management, right? One thing is, for example, so there are three things to it, right? One is right user, the second is right placement, and the third is right ad type, right? So if you see when I say right user, we are helping publishers using AI. They can predict whether what kind of user is this. Does this user get irritated by ads? Does this user want to pay and not see ads? Does this user want to see ads and understands that the ad is a medium for him or her to continue playing, right? And we have done a lot of market surveys to understand that users understand that they need to watch the ads to fund the creator, right? So these are the kind of AI tools now which are available for publishers to understand different users and not irritate them, but engage them through the right ad formats. So that is about right users. When we say right placement, uh, there are a lot of places where ads cannot be intrusive, right? For example, if you want something and if you have to watch an ad in exchange of that, there's a value which is associated with it, right? So user associate that value and they are not irritated by it, but they see it as an tool to get what they want. There are also different placements in ad which can be placed at strategic intervals, for example at level complete, or when you are not actually playing the game but browsing through other features of the game. There is a lot of engagement you can drive through those places recently. And then the right ad type, right? And recently we have launched immersive ads. It's still in beta, so it's not available to all the publishers now, but what it does is it natively blends the ad in the environment, right? So imagine if you're playing a cricket game and all the boundary walls are, as in real world, are placed with ads. If you can place your ads there, it is a very natural experience for a user. So from there you can drive a lot of awareness, but there are a lot of other placements also where you can drive clicks and conversions. But these immersive ads are coming out as really good in terms of look and feel, and we have been able to comply with IAB guidelines also in terms of what advertisers are looking for, what's the viewability of that, and all the metrics can be measured, because it becomes difficult for an advertiser to understand that how the brand will be looking at the how the brand will look in the native environment. But a lot of these new innovation, I think, will help us progress in the journey of making sure that all type of funnels can be addressed, funnel requirements can be addressed through gaming.
Why A while back when I was talking to you, you did mention something about casual gamers and hardcore gamers. Now, let me expand that whole bit. We live in attention deficit times. People keep saying that 5 second is a view and you should do 10-second ads and stuff like that. I mean, as a creative guy, I would die trying to do a 5 second ad. It's just so counterintuitive. But from a gaming perspective, where is it that you see this? So does the younger generation, and whatever name marketers call it, I'm not really going to that naming mechanism, but does the younger generation take better to gaming ads? And do you have anything to tell the marketers that if you're talking to a certain cohort, advertising in games works better than, say, advertising on any other platform?
Yeah. So I don't think I will have right data points to support whether it is better or not at this point of time. But what I can definitely say that we see really good performance on the ads which are placed on games, and there is a new type of ad creatives which advertisers can run, which is like playable ads. So you can create your own small game also, which can drive really high engagement in a game, right? So imagine you are playing a game, and to get a reward you have to solve something quickly. So the user is in that mindset, and very high engagement can be reached through these type of creatives. So I would say definitely a lot of time is being spent on games by the newer generation. They are highly engaged there. There are new types that advertisers can engage with them at the right place, right time, with the right creative, and that can drive a lot of engagement. And we are seeing that trend, that a lot of advertisers are trying to reach out to these users in this environment.
Krishnarao, from your perspective, because I would presume a large amount of your advertising will be driven to people who buy it as a part of their monthly rations. Large part also will go to casual buying and what they buy for that time and stuff like that. I mean, you're really the mass of FMCG marketing that goes in there. How do you see the audience cohorts, and to what kind of people are you pushing advertising through gaming platforms? Where do you see this whole game being played from your perspective?
So while most of our brands, including the flagship Parle, Crackjack, Monaco, they form a part of the monthly grocery list. So typically that comes during the monthly purchases, but we because that's already sort of protected, I would say, and that's as a habit that's already been built over the decades. We try and address the audiences, the relatively younger audiences, and with the evolution of platforms like e-commerce and q-commerce, it has become really seamless for us to target the casual gamers particularly, because the kind of category that we have presence in, like biscuits, salty snacks, confectionery, big fish cereals, these are like really impulsive products. And the moment you, if you are able to sort of communicate at the right time through a game to this relatively younger or very impulse stricken audience, it becomes very easy for us to see that to see a traction on any e-commerce or a q-commerce kind of platform. So it has really worked, and typically the kind of products that we use are also very impulse within the portfolio. Say for example, something, a brand like hide and seek, a brand like Kiss Me Toffee, or a Poppins for that matter. So it brings in a lot of nostalgia, a lot of memories back to you, and brings in an urge or urgency rather to actually make a purchase. So there are brands which we use predominantly for generating awareness, but a lot of it is also call to action.
Interesting you say Poppins, because Poppins possibly was the earliest of brand, even when gaming didn't exist, to gamify the entire advertising and make it the playful thing and stuff like that. Any
Absolutely.
examples that you have on what the brand has done and how that nostalgia has played out, or you brought it back? I mean, I do see Poppins around again, so I'm sure you're doing something correct from that perspective.
Yeah. So there are two brands actually. So I'll tell you, it's interesting. So Poppins is a brand I have grown upon when I was a kid, and I was like no completely amazed with every time I sort of tried to pop in. There was a different color, and it was very good for me to share with my friends. And it was that time it was probably barely at 1 rupee. Today it is 2 rupees, and we have a 5 rupee pack as well. But for the longest, like you rightly said, the visibility has gone up sort of multifold, and availability, because of the fact that we initially were focusing only general trade. Somewhere the modern trade element, or a Q-commerce or a e-commerce element, was missing for the longest. But in the last 5 odd years, we've taken concrete measures to address and to have a presence in the modern retail format as well. As a result, probably is where you have been able to start seeing. Uh, on the communication front, it has not been really consistent, but instead of television, so we had done quite some time back, almost a decade ago, we had done a campaign which talked about Dukya. So and which really caught the viewers attention. But at the same time, consistency is the name of the game. Besides, we also created or sort of brought to life the the characters Ram and Sham, which our creative partner Everest sort of helped us conceive. And these were like the two characters which came to the rescue of the good, to protect them from the evil. And it was like a one-pager comic format, which we've used for the longest in the children's comics, etc. The other bit
But
is
you've never looked at using Candy Crush for Poppins. I mean, I'm just, it looks like such a
no.
natural fit to take Poppins into Candy Crush, because it is
Yes.
almost similar kind.
I'm absolutely, I'm in alignment with what you've said. I think that's really going to be a great fit. We have somehow never explored for Poppins in particular. But yeah, speaking about our other brand, I'll definitely keep that in consideration. Speaking about other brand, which was sort of reborn only because of somebody tweeted saying that get back Rola Cola, get us back a brand like Rola Cola. And we said, okay, get us about, if we get retweets, about 10,000 retweets, we'll definitely get it. And actually, we barely invested a few thousands actually to promote that tweet. And in a span of less than 1 month, we were able to get 10,000 retweets. So such is the nostalgia, such is the brand power. And sometime during September 2019, just pre-COVID, we reintroduced Rola Cola with a fanfare. Unfortunately, we had COVID for almost about 20-24 months, and our distribution took a hit sometime during the 20s and 2020 and 2021. But only once the educational institutes, schools, colleges sort of reopened, we've ramped up our distribution and made these products like both Poppins and Rola Cola available across platform.
Ankit, if I come back to you, there are some very interesting examples brands do abroad. For instance, the KFC giveaways that happened with Call of Duty, or the entire real world experience they created with that Urzistan or whatever they called it, and you could do the drop in that and experience what happens. Or even the Felix Gartner's space jump from the stratosphere jump for Red Bull. Do
Yeah,
you see those kind of things coming closer home? I mean, we've had the PUBG World Championship happening in India, but
yeah,
that almost now has become more online. I think it's the impact of COVID and people are not moving and meeting together and stuff like that. Do you
yeah.
see a lot of that coming to life and then becoming big again?
So I think that's a very interesting question, because we also keep wondering that how we can create these out of life experiences for brands and merging the gaming network. The big challenge which comes is that gaming in by nature is very very global, right? So a lot of these gaming companies might be based out of anywhere, but they would have global users, right? So a lot of games which Indian users play are not developed by Indian companies, or a lot of games which Indian companies are developing for, say, tier one markets like US or Europe. So that is where I think matchmaking becomes little difficult. But wherever there can be matchmaking, we have seen some top brands come up with IP based games also, which have done like really well. But that matchmaking is something which I think market can evolve to, and we see now better quality games come out of India, which was not there few years back. But we see more quality games being developed from India, more AAA games also being developed from India, which is where that matchmaking can happen, and we can have more of these experiences.
Anything you want to speak about from the perspective of having seen or having done that, because you actually would have far greater in-depth understanding and experience. So anything that you could put out saying, okay, this is what brands did and this is what worked for them and this is what others can do.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we have not worked on any such integration so far. We largely rely on the auction based mechanism, where the right users are targeted for by the right by the advertisers targeting. So we have not done these integrations in India, unfortunately. But I think in near future we should be able to see more of them that coming.
I've also seen brands do a tie-up. I mean, Balenciaga did a tie-up, Jordan's done a tie-up. I mean, do you see that kind of thing coming to India? Do you see brands exploring with you whether they can take license or take parts of it? I mean, there was a concert that happened on Candy Crush. The whole song was launched there. Do you see those kind of opportunities happening, people wanting to do something like that?
Yeah, so we keep hearing from our publishers that how brands approach them for like native integrations, where say a character can be made out of a branded event. But as I said, unfortunately, we have not seen a great integration from Indian publisher perspective, like where an Indian publisher would have done a very custom integration yet. But yeah, hope to see that in near future.
Is cost an issue? Is that the reason why brands don't look at it so seriously?
No, I think it's just matchmaking. As I said, right, that games are very global in nature, and the big companies, gaming companies which are based out of India, might not be targeting Indian users, and Indian users are not playing games which are made in India. So it's just matchmaking in terms of the right audience availability for that integration.
What's happening with the gamer influencers? I mean, are they becoming quite large? Are brands reaching out to them? What's your experience, Krishnarao? Have you worked with
Yeah.
gaming influencers? Have they done something for you?
So I was just about to sort of come in there. So I personally, as an advertiser, also see when you asked about cost, I think the costs are prohibitive. So we've been receiving regularly several proposals about esports championships, etc. And costs are really prohibitive. So we do not really know the kind of ROI that we are going to derive out of associations with such events and tournaments. But yes, more importantly, we do definitely look at the gaming influencers, because these guys are really champs and they become absolute inspiration for the gamers, the serious gamers particularly, because they want to just look at the gameplay, the way they have been playing their own games, they have been achieving milestones, etc. And these are all available on their channels on YouTube, on Google. and it becomes a fantastic platform or an opportunity for us to tie the gaming interested audience on such platforms. I think that we do as a regular practice for most of our campaigns.
I think what has happened with esports championship and stuff like that is that the handsets have taken that thing over. It works for them. It's a natural integration. That's a device on which you play that. Today, handsets are launched with that perspective of saying made for gaming and stuff like that. Maybe that's what has started to happen. And maybe there is a whole bit of consolidation that has happened towards few of those tech brands putting in investment there. Uh, Ankit, from your
No, sorry.
perspective, yeah. No, no.
Also, actually, yeah, though it had started with the smaller screens, devices, mobile phones, etc. But during the COVID times, it all moved on to the workstations, like no heavy duty machines, and for which you need to have a very good bandwidth as well. So there is definitely been a strong movement towards like gaming laptops and gaming PCs, etc. And youngsters have been extremely passionate about onboarding or getting onto those platforms, and it actually suffices, and they are able to use it to chat, like no on platforms like Discord, etc., and all of that. So from that perspective, I think yes, from handsets, I think there is definitely a shift to the gaming laptops, etc., which are really high end, and gamers really enjoy those as such. Yeah, yeah, please.
No, I was asking Ankit, I'm sure as a publisher, they're not interested in that segment, but there is a lot of action on the real money gaming and poker and Teen Patti and Ludo and stuff like that. And there are hundreds of these celebs who are associated with those platforms and all. Any point of view you have there? Because I know Google doesn't support a lot of that. But is there a point of view that you have there? Do you see something happening on that, or that evolving into something else?
Yeah, so I know real money gaming is a big segment where a lot of players are engaged. We have a certain category of real money gaming available on Google Play also, but there are like a lot of policies around what can be distributed through Google Play and what cannot be. But so that is also a big thing which we constantly keep talking to these real money gaming players, whether they want to enter into gaming world, whether they want to enter into the advertisement world, right? Whether they want to open up their inventory for the advertisers to show ads, whether advertisers would be open to show ads on such platforms. So I think there is a lot more policy evolution which needs to happen, and we need to come to a consensus where advertisers would be comfortable showing ads on RMG platforms, and RMG uh, publishers are open to showing ads by segmenting their users again by payers, non-payers, and through different ways.
Krishnarao, would you be okay advertising on platforms like that? Or
Absolutely
that's
not.
something that, yeah, I
Absolutely
was
not.
about to ask
So we
that.
have strong like no brand safety issues there, and we definitely do not have presence on such games at all. We refrain
So
from those
forward,
games.
so going forward as a brand owner, what is it that you would want to happen on the gaming perspective? What is it that you would look for? What do you think future holds?
Um, so somewhere I think Ankit touched upon the kind of games, the kind of advertising that we look forward to moving forward is so typically the rewarded like ads. So you if you want to get a life, you want to get some daily challenges or daily rewards also. So you are compelled to watch an advertisement, and yeah, even in there, if you are able to craft your communication in a way that it becomes seamless for the viewer or the gamer, I think really the way forward. We see some ads which are really compelling, and even if they are like really long ads, one is okay to spend time viewing such a complete communication. But there are some ads which are extremely intrusive and not so I would say viewer friendly as such. That is where the challenges are. So from both, I would say from the gaming platform perspective as well as the advertisers perspective, I think the collaboration needs to be in a way that it turns out to be a win-win, not just for the gamer and the advertiser, but even for the gaming platform, but even for the gamer for that.
Ankit, advice to the marketers. What would you
Yeah,
tell
I
them?
think yeah, sure. I think as technology is evolving, as I was saying that publishers are becoming more and more conscious about showing the right ad to the right user. So they are using a lot of first party data and AI predictions, ML predictions to see that how they can create more engaging experience for the right users, and advertisers brand can be put in there with new type of ad creatives which are coming in, like playable ads, rewarded ads, and very immersive ads. I think there is more opportunity for brands to engage with these users. The request to advertisers would be, don't just put a banner ad as your ad creative. Do provide native assets to the campaign, so that publishers can place your creatives in more immersive way. And lastly, I think with the last point which you touched, right, the matchmaking is something I think which can happen. So I would like request advertisers to see that which are the Indian games, Indian developers which are doing really good, and yeah, we are happy to make connections with those publishers and see that what we can do, which can be like really out of the box solution for the brands.
Thank you. I think that brings me to the end of this whole conversation. Anything that you want to add, you can, but otherwise, I'm through with whatever I wanted to ask you guys.
I
All
think
Thank
good.
you.
thank you so much, Naresh. It was fantastic interacting with you, and Ankit, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Team Adgully.
Thanks, Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. This was really interesting and quite insightful.